Billionaire Charles Koch explained in a Wall Street Journal op-ed today why he and his brother David are pouring so much money into right-wing political causes and candidates. The explanation was right there in the title of the piece. I'm fighting to restore a free society. Instead of welcoming free debate, collectivists engage in character assassination. The op-ed piece then spent 884 words saying what the title had already said so succinctly. Here's a sample. The central belief and fatal conceit of the current administration is that you are incapable of running your own life, but those in power are capable of running it for you. This is the essence of big government and collectivism. Instead of encouraging free and open debate, collectivists strive to discredit and intimidate opponents. One of the collectivists that Mr. Koch, got to say that carefully, clearly had in mind is Senator Harry Reid, who has taken to the Senate floor to criticize the Koch brothers' political spending.
Came from the great Senator Pat Moynihan, who said, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but not to their own facts. But I guess the Koch brothers have been able to buy their facts over the years, not paying any attention to whether they were true or false. And here's the truth. Millions in political ads sponsored by these two multi-billionaires are misleading at best and outright false in many instances.
Mr. Koch's op-ed piece did not mention Harry Reid by name, but there's little doubt who he was referring to when he wrote, rather than try to understand my vision for a free society or accurately report the facts about Koch Industries, our critics would have you believe we're un-American and trying to rig the system, that we're against environmental protection or eager to end workplace safety standards. These falsehoods remind me of the late Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan's observation, everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but not his own facts. Apparently, everyone is entitled to that famous Moynihan quote. Here was Harry Reid's reaction to the op-ed piece today.
Most people here are familiar with the Koch brothers. I've helped make them a little more infamous or famous, and I'm glad I've done that. These two men are a pair of shadow billionaires spending millions of dollars to rig our political system, and who does it help? Them. And by every indication, my Republican colleagues are falling all over themselves to help advance their self-described radical philosophy. Already, we've had one senator run to the Senate floor, and he read word for word that op-ed piece onto the floor.
Senator Reid was referring to the junior senator from Kansas, Republican Jerry Moran, who did indeed go to the Senate floor and read every word of Charles Koch's op-ed piece, which is not the best way for a senator to prove that he is not in the pocket of a billionaire. Joining me now is E.J. Dionne, MSNBC political analyst and columnist for The Washington Post, and Nia Malika Henderson, who is also with The Washington Post. E.J. Dionne, us collectivists had a very bad day in the David Koch op-ed piece. I think he used the word collectivist or collectivism about a half a dozen times in this thing. And Charles Koch, I believe, is 78 years old. So when he was in elementary school, that word was used here and there before people started using communist and socialist. But the thinking in that op-ed piece, I think, was captured completely in the title.
Well, first of all, if that's the best he can do, I don't think we collectivists are in any trouble at all. I mean, I found it an astonishing piece. In the first place, this is a guy who is spending tens of millions of dollars attacking other people, and then he is suddenly offended that people might hit him back. And, you know, I write an op-ed column. I will share with him the comments written under my column or the email I get, which I can't recite on this family show. If you get into the debate, people are going to hit you back. And the notion he can attack people and not be accountable is crazy. But some of the content of this is also remarkable. The fundamental concepts of dignity, respect, equality before the law, and personal freedom are under attack by our own government. Does he think think we are in Vladimir Putin's Russia or Pinochet's Chile. And so first he attacks Obama, and then later on in the piece he brags that he's gotten awards for environmental health and safety excellence since 2009, when Obama took office, some of them from the Environmental Protection Agency. If this government is so awful, why is he bragging about awards from the EPA? I found this an astonishing piece.
And Nia, he says in the piece that our system, the American system now, destroys value, raises costs, hinders innovation, and relegates millions of citizens to a life of poverty. Now, for a billionaire who has gotten richer and richer and richer and exponentially richer during the Obama years, to say that this system destroys value while we see everything he values going up is a particularly peculiar statement.
It is peculiar, and you feel like Democrats are going to seize on all of this. You saw Harry Reid there doing a bit of a victory dance today because he very much made this happen. He sort of smoked the Koch brothers out of hiding so that they wanted to defend themselves in this Wall Street Journal editorial. You also have Democrats like Kay Hagan, who is facing $7-8 million in ads down in North Carolina. She's also picked up this theme as well and is tweeting incessantly about the Koch brothers and this outside influence. And she, of course, is trying to run a very local campaign in North Carolina. So I think the Koch brothers very much give the Democrats a boogeyman. There was some polling early on that suggested not that many people knew who the Koch brothers were. I think 50% of Americans didn't know who they were. But it feels like the Democrats have found something of their stride here in trying to really paint the Koch brothers as the enemy of their party and the enemy of what they want to do.
EJ, Charles Koch says in this piece that more government means less liberty, and liberty is the essence of what it means to be American. But he doesn't single out, he doesn't mention a single government program that he would get rid of. He just says more government. So what in this government is too much government? What is the too much government he's talking about? He doesn't say it in here.
You know, I was really struck by that line, too, that more government means less liberty. And what I want to ask Mr. Koch is, has he heard of Social Security and Medicare, which, as far as I can tell, give seniors more liberty? Has he heard of student loans and scholarships, which give young people more liberty to improve themselves? Has he heard, by the way, of Obamacare, which has given something like 10 million uninsured people the liberty of having health insurance he takes for granted? I thought that sentence defined the difference between those of us who think that government has a role to play in enhancing people's autonomy and those who just don't want government to do anything because they can do everything for themselves.
Nia, since he doesn't tell us what he means by this loss of liberty that apparently he has suffered, is all you can gather from it is that every tax dollar taken from the Koch family reduces the liberty of the Koch family.
Well, in some ways, yes. I mean, they are very much interested in pushing policies that benefit them. And before they had a lot of think tanks, right? Charles Koch, of course, ran for vice president in 1980, although in the article, he says that he was really interested in education and he didn't see much good in politics and only got interested in politics over the last 10 years. This is very much a dream come true for what they wanted to do. They've had these policies or these sort of positions all along, but they haven't had an army, and so they finally have this Tea Party army, and they are looking at policies. They're trying to sort of cloud the debate around climate control because they have oil refineries. So I think they have met with some success in very much shaping the debate, and it feels like Democrats have some work to do, some ground to make up, and I think over these next weeks you'll see them go up with ads in some of these states like Louisiana, for instance, in really talking about the Koch brothers and this undue outside influence. We
invited both of the Koch brothers to join us here on the program tonight, and EJ and Nia, they couldn't make it. They're not here.
Other plans.
We're glad to be here in their stead, Lawrence.
Yeah, no, we would have had you here too. Don't worry, we wouldn't have bumped you. And you know, I've extended the invitation forever, so we'll see what happens. But
one of these days,
I would like to know, since they've left it kind of blank, what what is this too much government? Are food stamps too much government? I mean, that's just where I would begin. I would very much like to know, EJ, what is the government that they would dismantle?
Well, they haven't said it, and I would like them on here. I mean, they bragged about getting these awards from the EPA, but they obviously don't like EPA regulations of their companies. I presume a lot of employers don't like food, like safety regulations in their workplace. But I think this goes to something, Lawrence. A lot of times you hear people complain about regulation in the abstract, but they very rarely say, well, I really don't think workers should have all these rules so they're safe at work. They can't say that. So I think it is the right question to ask them, and you can quote Daniel Patrick Moynihan back at them yourself.
Oh, no, I think the quote has been overworked now on both sides. You're not going to catch me using it anymore. Nia Malika Henderson and EJ Dionne, thank you both for joining me tonight.
Thank you.